Now, it's been a little over a month since Hurricane Ian slammed into Southwest Florida, and I've been getting a lot of questions about how this will impact the value of real estate in Southwest Florida. I've done the research, and you're going to be surprised by what we found out. So we know when a hurricane comes through, people get scared. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty that comes. There's a ton of destruction. There was a lot of loss of life. It was a very negative thing. But when it comes to the real estate in Southwest Florida, is that a good thing or a bad thing when a hurricane comes through? Now, the typical wisdom would say it's a bad thing, right? We had something come through, damaged a lot of the properties. Who would want to live near a place where a hurricane can come through? But the reality isn't just that way. There is a research website that is called Veros.com. And what they have done is they have taken over 30 years worth of storms. Then they went to what were the costliest storms, what were the most expensive storms that came through, and then they focused on the ones that were near population centers, so near bigger cities. And this list of the top 5 storms is Hurricane Andrew and Charlie and Hugo and Katrina, just to name a few of them. And so with that regard, these are all catastrophic, huge storms. And what they found out was quite interesting. So when they normalized the data to say, you know, in these areas where these huge storms came, how did they compare versus the appreciation of the rest of the United States of America during that same time frame? And what they found out was actually the year after a significant storm came through, there was an average of about 5 to 6.5% appreciation above and beyond what the rest of the United States saw in that same time frame across the board with all of those different storms. In fact, none of the scenarios did home prices go down after one of those significant storms. Now, that's super interesting, but let's take a look a little bit deeper. Why? Why does that happen? Well, we know, based on what we experienced, that there are a significant amount of people who are displaced from their homes. So if the home was flooded, you can no longer live there, and so you need another property. So the demand is actually a bit higher following a storm. And then on top of that, we have the properties that are just not sellable, and therefore the supply goes down. So if we take a look at the general economic indicators of supply and demand, if the supply has gone down and the demand has gone up, of course, there's going to be appreciation in the marketplace. Now, we're seeing that on the sales side, but we're also seeing that on the rental side, because rentals, there's a significant demand for rentals for a shorter to medium term, so 6 months to a year, where people are going to be rebuilding their homes. So the rental market gets an additional surge as well. So what does that mean for us? Obviously, it means that we should expect that there's going to be appreciation in the market, but also we have some other factors that are going on. We have interest rates that are climbing above 7% now, and that is doing what it is supposed to do, and that it is slowing down the sales in the overall real estate market, and we will be impacted by that. I mean, that will absolutely have an impact. Now, what I can tell you based on what we're seeing right now is that the actual number of properties that are going pending is at the exact same level that it was prior to Hurricane Ian coming through. So it took us a few weeks to kind of shake out the shock of what happened to us, but now we're on a trajectory where we're back to the same sales that we were. Now, this is all of Southwest Florida that I'm talking about. Obviously, we're going to have the coastal areas like the Fort Myers Beach, Sanibel Island, Captiva Island, where that's going to take more time, right? There are places that are not going to be rebuilt ever. It's going to take a long time in other cases. And so those particular, smaller geographic areas that got hit really hard, that will take time. But I also believe that overall, they're going to see a significant increase in value over time. And part of that is that the construction cost to rebuild is going to go up. And so therefore, the value of those properties is higher, because now that we need to bring them up to the current flood standard, that just costs more money. The one other variable that I want to discuss is the insurance, what's going on in insurance in the state of Florida. That has the potential, from my perspective, to be one of the biggest risks of people actually moving to Florida, because the cost and availability of insurance is going to cause a problem unless there's some higher level conversations that take place, and really it would be government, it would be Florida government having to step in and figure out how we can fix the insurance market as it is. So here's what I'll say. I am optimistic that we are going to rebound from this. We have already seen the resilience in the community. We're starting to see businesses open back up even on the islands, which is amazing, but it may take some time to work through. Now, we have also seen a big number of investors who are interested in purchasing properties that are distressed, that were flooded, that cannot be rebuilt. So that demand out there, the smart people are saying, this is a good opportunity for me to enter into this market and procure properties otherwise that I wouldn't have been able to afford before. And we're actually seeing a lot of significant price reductions of the damaged properties on our MLS. So those are being updated. I saw one that was a $1 million price reduction. So if that is you, if you are in that court, feel free to reach out, and we've got a list that we put together of properties that did get damaged that are on the market. And that is not easy to come by, but we have ways to be able to figure out which those properties are, and we can provide that over to you. So feel free to reach out from that regard. Now, do me a favor, if you could like and subscribe, that really helps the YouTube algorithm show this video out to more people. And also, I want to know your thoughts. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you think that prices are going to appreciate like the studies say? Or do you think this is going to be an outlier? Do you think this is going to be a different scenario where this was so bad that we'll actually see depreciation in the market? Let me know. Look forward to talking with you soon. Thanks.